You're listening to the Living Mandala podcast. My name is Ara. Conversation continues with the Color and the Living Mandala series. I'm joined, of course, by Nicole Cullum of Caravan, an old friend of mine and color expert. I don't know how else to say it. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so let's start. We're moving on. We did red last time. Now it's time for orange and all of its derivatives. So orange. So tell us about like what you would categorize as, some of the derivatives of orange.
Orange is such a fascinating color. So orange is typically considered as like nature's antidepressant. So orange can be all the range from our beautiful light peach colors, corals, all the way down to like terracotta, the earthy oranges.
Cool. And in nature, of course, what comes to mind, but oranges, first and foremost. But I'm also thinking about, all of the beautiful flowers, feathers. It's kind of like red in the sense that, it's a bright, attractive color. It pulls your eye. But orange, to harness orange, you've already sort of pointed to where orange comes from, but how did we get orange out of nature to be able to use it for clothing, for paintings, for...
Right. So orange is mostly mineral-based. Egyptians used a mineral called, I'm going to murder this, realgar. And it's a yellow orange that they used to paint their tombs with. Now, another mineral that was called oripint was used by the Romans to make more of a deeper golden yellow orange. But both of these were unfortunately toxic, as most of our beginning scientists who tinker with these colors use these heavy metal minerals that can end up being toxic. So we later have to find more safe versions of these that are color fast. And these pop up in art, and this is why you see a lot of artists become kind of deathly ill after being exposed to
their own painting materials.
Own painting. I mean, you think about like cadmium yellow or cadmium red. What's the first word in there? Cadmium. As a heavy metal, it is toxic.
Wow. Okay. So, like all things, orange has its own weird history, and I'm sure, like red, like any of the colors, we're going to find out, the knowledge spreads, right? Because if people are dying, trying to, make fabrics and paintings, the safer versions of, these pigments are going to reveal themselves. So spiritual dimensions of of orange. We're on orange now. Again, if you listen to the Living Mandala podcast many episodes ago, there was an entire episode on the sacral chakra. And that is, of course, the chakra that orange is most associated with. So that's going to be, your pelvis, your sexual organs. Orange is associated with flow states and creative energy, things like this. And that's going to translate as we move through the conversation around orange, that flow state, you think flow, you normally think of water, but in this case with the sacral chakra, it's definitely orange. And so there's a whole episode that you can listen to about that. But then the religious dimensions of orange are also interesting.
I'm not surprised that orange is our second chakra, because orange is such an active color. Orange is a combination. It's a secondary color on the color wheel. It is a combination of red and yellow, and red is, passion and love and the cheerfulness of yellow. So you combine those two to get orange, and it's a very happy color. But in all of its shades, it has quite a range, surprisingly. In religion, orange is the color of Buddhist monks' robe.
Yes, it is.
It is associated with the highest state of illumination, and it is a color of transformation in Confucianism. So Krishna in Hinduism is often seen dressed in yellow-orange. And it's funny because in Christianity, orange is a highly political color in Christianity. Orange is associated with Protestantism. Like in Northern Ireland, for example, orange is linked to the Orange Order, a Protestant fraternal organization. So colors were used as political representations, especially in religion.
Signaling.
It is signaling, yes. I mean, countries use it in their flags. Colors are used in religion, and for better or for worse.
Right. And then moving into the emotional dimensions of orange, some of the things I have for that, it's not really an emotion, but, just the subject of creativity and being creative. It's often very much associated with creativity.
Mm-hmm. Orange is associated with optimism. And it's it's got that cheerful yellow in there. So think about beautiful sunsets or the fruits of oranges and tangerines. It's associated with enthusiasm. It's a high energy color. A lot of sports teams and brands use orange. And think about Home Depot. You go there to pick up supplies because you're creating something. Gatorade, right. I mean, this is not on accident, even though it is subconscious on some level, but it's actually, there's a lot of, thankfully now, studies around color where there's science to the branding. And it's very high energy. So you have to be calculated with our orange, because orange can be very high energy, but it can also weirdly in branding be associated with like inexpensive. I thought that was so interesting. Like the only brand that has surmounted this is Hermes, right? When you think of Hermes orange and you think super high end, but then you think about sales or discounts, that signage is in orange.
Fascinating. So, stepping out of the emotional and more into the embodied, you mentioned it, orange is great for, if you're doing exercise. It's a great color for athletic exercise. It's very motivating. It's helpful for creativity. It's also great, I mentioned that red was great when I space clear. Orange is a great color to wear when reorganizing. So when sifting through and moving things around and recategorizing things, orange is great for that. And then in the auric field, orange indicates, oddly enough, good organizational abilities. So if somebody has orange in their field, that can be associated with good organizational abilities. And then you said it earlier, a golden orange aura is associated with wisdom and energy, heightened mental and spiritual abilities, as well as self-control, which lines up beautifully with, what you were saying about various monks, Buddhist monks, but also other types of monks also wear orange. I'm thinking of the Order of Ramakrishna. They all wear shades of orange and peach and things like that. But yeah, you're right. It's often associated with monks. So, coming out of the emotional dimensions and pulling it down into the body and house, tell us about that.
So let's take the value spectrum. Now, when you add white to orange, you get those soft peach colors. That calms us. There's an aspect of orange that relates to the earth, right? It's not only in our food, but you think about clay. Orange is a grounding element. So those softer colors actually help lower stress levels in the body, and they calm us, and they're more gentle. The brown oranges, think terracotta, is very grounding for us. But those super bright oranges, think like traffic cone orange. Those things are just like red. They pull forward in our vision, and that's why we use that color as a warning color.
Hazmat crew.
It catches our attention and we go, ooh, what's that, right? So you don't want to use those bright oranges in areas where you need to concentrate deeply. Like you don't want to paint your kid's study room in a bright orange. They will be all over the place. So it's a calculated, you have to think about, they're great in creative spaces. Like if you have a studio and you want that to be, high energy, throw some orange in there, be my guest. They're great as accent walls. Think home gyms, places where you want to be very active and you want to create. That's perfect place for orange.
Right. And it also, like red, it's like a little step down. It's like red light, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but it can be stimulating to your appetite as well.
Oranges can be stimulating. I mean, they stimulate the body, right? Like
That's what I mean.
It sits in your second chakra. That's where all your digestive, not only sexual, but your digestive organs are in there too. So, it's movement.
Right. So many levels. It's movement. Well, coming out of the kind of more classic design and thinking about applications in feng shui, of course, like I said, I mean, orange is kind of red light in some sense. It's also associated with fire. So any part of the home that you need to bring in fire balance, you can also use orange. That will also do the trick. So, it's helpful for stimulating creativity. There's certain areas like you're mentioning, within the home, like, maybe the gym or, potentially like an art studio that it can be good for. That's all true in feng shui as well. It's a warm color. So it's a color that it is often used in the health and vitality area of the home, which is like the center of the home. If you're looking at a square-shaped home, the very center is sort of the health and vitality area. We'll get to it. Yellow is also there too. Earth. It's a center. It's earth. It's associated with fire, but also loosely with earth. Depending on what's going on in the space, it can be used to balance, yin and yang energies. It is often associated with self-confidence.
I can see that.
So in feng shui. And so, orange, like I said, is kind of a red light in that sense. Coming out of feng shui and thinking about the planetary astrology, this is where things don't line up super tidy, but I'll go ahead and explain myself. Orange is overtly linked with Thursday and the planet Jupiter. Think about, Jupiter has that big, reddish orange spot on it, the big eternal storm or whatever. It's overtly associated with Thursday and with Jupiter. However, the visual yantra associated with Thursday and Jupiter is actually yellow. So we'll come back to yellow when we get to yellow, even though it's clearly orange. Everything says orange. The yantra is yellow. So we'll come back to that. But the yantra for Sunday is lots and lots of orange. And so I mentioned Sunday because, for me, I will very often wear orange on Thursdays. Or I will very often wear orange on Sundays because Sunday, any color associated with the sun goes. So I can wear red on Sunday. I can wear orange. I can wear yellow. I can bring, if I want to vibrate with like, a dawn morning, then I'll do the peaches and corals. If I want to do like a sunset, I might dip into violets. Black I've often worn on Sundays because it's just associated with extreme heat. And charred things, right? But overtly, the yantra associated with Sunday is orange. It'll be on the website, so you can take a look at it. But it is also linked with Thursday and Jupiter. So I say all of that because they don't line up, and we'll get to a couple others that don't line up perfectly either. Okay, so. In terms of orange, if orange was an embodied goddess, okay, are we ready to do this? You go first.
Okay, so orange is an embodied goddess. I have Pomona, who is the goddess of fruitful abundance and fertility. She was often depicted in orange robes.
Okay, awesome. Well, for orange, I have one that you said was red. I have Hestia. That's the Greek version of Vesta, who I really put down. She's the Roman goddess of house, home, and hearth. So Vesta and Hestia are sort of interchangeable, Greek and Roman, but house, home, and hearth.
I could see that because orange, orange is a great place in living rooms because it's a color of like negotiation and socialization, and we like to be warm and cozy when we are in groups. We like to feel safe and secure, and so I could see her being a goddess of hearth and home and having that color there. Okay, I have Atlanta, Greek goddess of war, wisdom, negotiation, and crafts, creativity.
Okay.
Do we have a match?
No.
Oh, dang.
No. I am curious to see if we have any matches.
Oh, just here.
Actually, okay. My next one is Bast, the Egyptian goddess of sunrise, but also mother of cats.
Bless my heart.
And I'm an orange cat mom, so that's why I was into Bast.
Okay, mother cats. Athena. All right. My dear Athena, she is has her symbols are the sun, golden shield, the helmet, the spear, the spindle. She is a goddess of battlefield wisdom.
Ooh.
Yeah. Power
goddess. Okay. My next one is Aurora, Roman goddess of the dawn, who grants rejuvenation.
I could totally see orange with that transfer.
Dawn, that peach dawn color. Okay.
I have Hecate, the Greek goddess of transition, dying, crossroads, and new beginnings.
Okay. And this is my last one. I think you have one more on orange, but my last one is Ushas, the Hindu goddess of the dawn, and wards off evil.
I have Mazu. She's a Chinese goddess of the southern sea. Her symbol is a dragon. She reigns over turbulent seas, clouds, skies, and rainbows.
Okay. Orange as the embodied goddess. Fascinating. I think it's so interesting that we have completely
I love the different goddesses. It's like my favorite.
Totally different ones. Okay, so anything else to say about orange? I mean, I'm sort of frantically looking at all of my materials here. And I don't have too much else to say about orange.
Well, orange is a friendly color.
It's friendly. It's joyous.
Orange is a motivational color. It's a color of transition. It's a blended color. Again, it's red and yellow. So you get kind of 2 for 1 with orange. It's a power color, but in its softer, gentler tones, it's the peaches, it's dawn, but it's also in the earthier tones, it's autumn. It's a transition color. So I would encourage you to look around and see where orange pops up in your life. It's funny because I'm reflecting on where orange is in my life. And during the summer, I am so attracted to bright orange. Oh, like this summer, I wore so much bright orange. I just couldn't get enough of it. And now that we're transitioning to cooler colors, I'm more leaning into the browner oranges. And I'm just doing that unconsciously.
Pumpkin spice, baby.
Well, I ain't a pumpkin spice girl, but I get it.
All right. You are listening to the Living Mandala podcast.